What's up, everybody? This is Adam, and I'm Alpha Magna. So, welcome to this quick just pop up. I like to check out the charts. It's random points throughout the day. I think, as we all do, anybody that's in the cryptoverse. So, I figured I'll just share these for anybody who wants to take a gander on Twitch or wants to review these via YouTube. You'll see the date and time. Today's Wednesday, June 2nd, 2021. It is 11:45 p.m. So, just a few minutes away till Thursday, and here on the Eastern Standard Time. And so let me pop on over. We're going to share my screen on Gate.io, and we're going to do some technical analysis. So here we go. And let me see here. This is what we're doing. Technical chart analysis, stochastics, candles, moving averages, net volume, and Fibonacci, other tools of the trade. What you see on the screen is what you get. So let's, whenever we look at this, this is what they traditionally called the tape. And the real pros, the old school pros, they didn't have all this stuff, all this fancy visual charting stuff. They had this. This is what was first. It used to be printed on the tape at the New York Stock Exchange. This trade history in real time. And what you're seeing is the green and the red, and these are figures as they're coming in real time in a live stream scenario right here. Okay. And these are the individual orders coming in. What you can see here is the total amount of each order in US dollars represented via Tether. And they even color coded it to make it even easier for you to say, okay, here's the current price, 37562.59. And then if it's red, these are people saying we're betting it for it to go down. And if it's green, we're betting for it to go up, right? Is that the case, or do they have this backwards? Because this is a Chinese exchange, and I think they actually have this backwards for some reason, because we have 375505551. Here's the 5545537. This is changing so fast. 357435693759. Yeah, so actually the red, they should have switched these colors around. Like this is long, this is short. Long and short trends. So they have it summarized up here. The green is going long. Okay, so that is right. Short is saying that you're ready to buy it at the going price, basically, or higher. And this is saying, hey, we think it's going to go lower. So real-time loan statistics and leverage trading market for reference only. All right, so this is, again, just kind of, you can get a gauge in real time, basically on a minute-to-minute view. You can also see this represented if you go to a minute chart. What I was just on was the hourly, right? So what we see here is this big purple field in the back is that I can expand this out the whole way, but you can only, this is all the further you're going to see. And this line right here is the VWAP, volume indicator. And generally, if it drops below the VWAP, it generally shows that the bears are in control, and it would continue down. If it comes above this VWAP as it is now, well, that means the bulls are taking control, and they pushed it right up to this current line, which is where it currently sits. Okay, so this line right here represents the current price over here. And we're going to pop over to, let's take a look at some of these different charts. We're going to look at the hour, the 4 hour, the 8 hour, and the 1 day. Okay, so here, this triangle pattern I drew on Friday, and we're still in it. And what this means is it started off wide. I charted it here, A, B, C, and D. it created this smaller triangle is one I drew actually last week, which it busted out of. Um, and to the downside. But it's holding within this larger range here and consolidating even more so. And the question is, how much further to the tip of this triangle will it go as it builds up more and more pressure, more and more buying pressure, more and more momentum to explode one way or the other, either up or down, right? So that's the question, and this is where we're at right now in real time. So I can expand this out a little bit so you could see the candle action on the 1 hour chart. And let's see, we're going in, we're zooming in, and instead of zooming in that much, sometimes it's easier just to go to like a 4 hour chart. You see, and as I change these charts from the 4 hour to the 8 hour, you can see there's the triangle pattern still is relevant. You could still see it. I can go to the 8 hour here and still relevant. We're still in this triangle. Okay. The candles become fatter. Each candle represents whatever you have selected. So if you're on a 1 hour, each candle, these are the candles, either represents what happened in what this is what's happening in this hour, current hour. This is the past hour, et cetera, et cetera. So each candle represents 1 hour, 4 hour, or in this case, we're on an 8 hour chart. Each candle represents 8 hours of time. And so it's interesting to switch between these because sometimes, you could see different things in the candles. You could see different sentiment as far as, what's happening, who's in control. Is it a bull or a bear? The green represented by the bulls pushing it up, and red showing that there's downward sentiment. So, but we're, as we see this chart, it's not coming all the way up before it's turning around. So this is interesting. It's getting tighter. It's not coming. This didn't go all the way up. This didn't come all the way down. It's not touching the edges. It's consolidating even tighter. And also, if we look at some of these Fibonacci lines that I drew, which is these ones here, this red, let's see if I can highlight the red, the yellow, the green, the blue. What we could see if we project these over is that where did this come up to? These lines right here? Well, it looks like it's right about with this fib line right there. Look at that. This blue line is right at the top of those candles. And what is this amount? Well, that is, if we look over here, we could see the amount in which this is topping out at is 38,199 is basically the high. Most, just from, what is this? 16. This is like 16 hours ago. This would be 24 hours ago. And so today, earlier today on Wednesday, it reached this new high of, this was the highest it went. And I have my put and calls down here where I'm saying I'm going to buy, but I'm going to be a little bit bearish. And I don't want to buy, because you always want to buy as low as you can. You're always speculating, you're always guessing how low can it go. And in my case, I think 35,000 is the median price. I think this is a very fair price. And I think over the next couple months, this price is going to seem very, very high. I think if I had patience to wait 2 months, that I think possibly in about my speculation is that a month from now, one of two things is going to happen, but it's going to take about a month. We're either going to test a new low down at 20,000, or we're going to revisit that high of 60,000. A lot of the bullish speculators believe that once we see 60,000, it will never go below that again. And so once it gets into that trading range, that sideways movement, it creates a new channel between the 60 and the 100K range. that it'll find a new bottom and it'll never get below 60K ever again. And um, there's a lot of good reason. I mean, they give a lot of good reasons. That would be fundamental analysis. So the idea of fundamental analysis is, what's on the radar, what's happening in the news to affect the price. What are the whales saying? And what we see, if you go on YouTube, you see that the whales are getting pretty vocal, right? So you have these people that come from traditional stock market world, which I say these are two different oceans. And the way that I look at what we have here in the cryptoverse, right, is one ocean. That's a blue ocean. And then you have the old traditional stock market, New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ. Those are different oceans. And they're actually different modalities and ways of thinking. And so when the way to think of tokens and tokenization is basically, this is a way for us unaccredited investors, non-millionaires, to place our bets, actually to invest. You could look at it as betting if you're doing it for pure speculation, but really you should be looking at the underlying tech, the technology, and what we're really betting on, what we're really speculating. What the way I do it is, I'm looking for medium to long-term holds. Who's going to come out of this the victor? Now, if you go back, 20 years, 30 years, actually, Microsoft and Macintosh, Apple emerged out of the big tech boom, from, that occurred in, 2019, or 1990 to 2000, like that range. Like, this kind of speculation was happening there. That was Internet 2.0. Actually, God, that was like, no, that was like Internet 1.0, from like 1985 to like basically, 95, almost 2000. And then, and it wasn't until 2000 that we started seeing the applications that were developed on that underlying tech. But somebody first, if you're building a building, you have to first build the foundation. So, it was like, okay, well, we have this internet now. What apps can we build upon that? And when we talk about Internet 3.0, it's like, this is what's happening again. If there's a new internet being built, what is going to be the foundational underlying tech? Well, what got everybody so excited, after Bitcoin kind of showed what it could do, um, which is already Bitcoin, believe it or not, like, has been out, over 10 years. And when Ethereum came on the scene, I think in like 2000, what was that? Like, oh my gosh, it's 2021 right now. So it is like 20, it's a 4-year cycle, 4-year halving for Bitcoin. So 2017 and then like 2012. So you can look what happened. But when Ethereum came on, if I roll this back, if I click on the weekly chart and we roll this back, you're going to see that these big push-ups in time happen. Hold on. Wait, yeah, wait. Okay, we can do it on this one. I think my screen might have froze up. Ah, there it goes. Yeah, so these big push-ups occur with the halving of Bitcoin every 4 years. And it creates a lot of FOMO, a lot of people, um it makes the news. That affects the fundamental analysis. All of a sudden, everybody's talking about this, and you have these spikes. Now, look how tiny Bitcoin was back here, and it made this little blip. And where was that on this radar? And then it fell back down and moved sideways for basically 3 years, until this 4th year, it starts coming into vogue again. It starts making the news and everybody starts talking about it and speculating, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? How are the miners going to react? Who's buying it? And as it makes the news, it gets people's attention and people FOMO in, and you see these huge pushes. Now, I don't know why this thing's moving so slow. Hold on. But anyway, this is the 2017 push right here. And then it fell back down. Sorry about my screen's acting really jumpy. But then it fell back down. And this is what we're speculating on right now is how, what's going to happen right now with this push. Like how's it gonna play out, right? So as we saw the consolidation, what we see is that it's forming a new channel. My speculation, and I just got rid of the other screen because it froze up. But my speculation is that it is forming a new channel. It's figuring out the conversation. When you look at candles, that is a conversation between the bulls and the bears, particularly the whales in each. And I started saying earlier that there are whales from the ocean of the old school New York Stock Exchange that believe that gold, the precious metal gold, is the storage of value, long time storage of value asset. And it's not meant to be traded as a currency. It's meant to be a long time store of value. And the new school, the new ocean, right, is Bitcoin, and saying this is going to be the new store of value. This is the underlying precious technology, precious metal, if you will, that kind of underlies everything. And this is why when Bitcoin moves, it affects not only Ethereum, but every other cryptocurrency in it. But everybody's speculating on Bitcoin, and it actually reached $1 trillion market cap. And so we have this round in 2021, we had all the institutional investors come in. Where did they start buying it? Well, look at where it's consolidating right now, between 30,000 and 40,000, and you have your answer. The median being $35,000 a coin. And the conversation is they bought it predominantly there. They want it to go up. But here's the thing. Institutional investors, you can watch them talk. I've spent tens of hours watching YouTube videos. I mean, probably 100 hours in the past week. And when you look at these old whales that represent institutional investors, big banks, when they're buying Bitcoin as a store of value, they're hedging their bets and they're buying lots of it, hundreds of millions of dollars of it. And they're doing it, they're holding it for 10 years. When they buy it, they're just like, this is going to go through two cycles, before they even touch it. So what we see right now is the conversation also of retail investors that bought Bitcoin 8 years ago, and then they bought in 4 years ago when it was so cheap that they could actually accumulate a good number of coins. And so you have this new money that's it's like a baby whale that's talking to these older whales from this old school. And, and the old whales are kind of coming over and checking out this ocean and saying, hey, is it our way? And they don't know what's going to be the new way, but they're hedging their bets with Bitcoin. So this is the conversation that's happening. And what we're seeing is a consolidation channel heavily around $35,000 a coin right now. You saw the triangle pattern. I will try to bring it up again. But basically, it's going to break out here. I think it's taken a long time. Everybody thought there was going to be a breakout this past weekend. Well, I think that there's a good shot that we can see a breakout this weekend to the upside or the downside. That conversation has to deal primarily with fundamental analysis. Who's on the news, who's saying what, and what's the conversation amongst the whales? Because when you're a retail trader, we're not controlling the market. So it's going to, we're like the little smaller fish that swim around the whales and catch the little, and smaller than the sharks even, right? But so we're catching all the little scraps and whatnot. And that's how we accumulate. But right now we're all kind of laying back and saying, okay, which way, which whale's going to win? Is it the old school that wants to kind of push it down? Is the retail money saying, you know what, I better take a little more cash out, or I'm satisfied right now with the cash out that I got from this last big push because it pushed up so hard that there's people that had Bitcoin at $10,000, 15, 16, 17, $20,000, they forex their money. So whether you had $1,000 in or 5,000, if you had $5,000 in, you made 25 grand. I had $6,000 in and I hit 30, 32 grand. And I cashed out at about 50K a coin and I diversified my holdings. So I have still about over 20 grand in play, and very, very little of it is in Ethereum or Bitcoin. So I'm actually, after watching these old heads talk about Bitcoin as a long-term store of value, and these old heads believing that the um, Bitcoin is basically it's not meant to replace paper money. It's meant to become an asset coin, and you want to be able to hold it for at least 4 years. So if you buy Bitcoin, buy it with the idea that you're going to hold it for at least 4 years. And if you do that, history has shown, of just even the short history of Bitcoin, that anybody that's held Bitcoin has bought it and hodled it for 4 years has not lost money. It will go up and down in that meantime. But that's why they talk about paper hands. You can't have paper hands. You don't want to drop it and chicken out. So use the money, like bust your ass, whatever you're doing out in the world, like get some money into Bitcoin. And here's the deal. If you buy it anytime, I'd say below 40K, you're getting in good. Keep in mind that over the next 2 years, at some point, it probably will test 20K a coin. Okay. But if you buy some now, you're hedging your bets in case it shoots up to 60, shoots up to 70 and 80. Because if it goes over 60, you're not ever going to have a chance to buy it at 35 again. Basically is the deal. Okay. And certainly you'll never have a chance to buy it at 20K. Right now, the conversation is, hey, between the whales, do we want to try to push it and sell, or try to manipulate the market to try to push it down and sell? Or, because if they sell what they just bought, they can create enough of a drop that all the retail investors panic sell. And they're like, oh crap, I'd rather take profit at 35 a coin than 20 coin. So let me cash out. And you have enough retail investors form a bulk size of a larger whale. So if that makes sense, what it means is that you can have one institution that has enough Bitcoin that can move the needle, one of those candles, push it down just enough to create a panic sell amongst the retail investors. And that's the way the game is played. You have one institution that's like saying, I want to push it up or I want to push it down. I'm willing to commit enough of my coin to move that needle at the right time to cause like a peristaltic chain reaction, basically. And so I'm going to pop back over here, and just so everybody, sees what I'm talking about, I'm going to share with you my screen. This is what I have on Gate.io, and these are my holdings. So I'm on 2 different markets right now. I have about half of my assets on, I have some in Coinbase still, because that's where I held it in a hard wallet. And I had it moved it from a Tether wallet to Coinbase, and then I moved it to crypto.com. I got about 10 grand on crypto.com, and I got about 14 grand that I'm trading here. And this is like, I have about 4 grand of it parked in USDT right now. And the rest of it, I bought heavy in Link. I bought heavy on ICP. I took an ass whooping on both of these things. They're down tremendously from what I paid for them. ICP is trading around $100 a token. I paid over $320 for it. Why? It was an amateur mistake. I got really excited about the technology, but here's the thing. You got to, when something comes new on the market, it's always going to shoot up, and then it's going to come down and stabilize. And I thought 320 was a fair price for it. And I don't care. I'm willing to hold that position for years. I don't think internet computer is going to see its day for at least 4 years, probably between a 5 and 10 year period. But that's why I shouldn't have bought so heavy so early on. And I could have got 3 times the amount of coin for the money that I put in if I would have waited. And same thing kind of with Chainlink. It's just, I mean, Chainlink, their technology is further along, and I thought it would be doing better than it is, especially with all the fundamental hype that was going around Link. And then I got Cody. I got some dot. My ADA Cardano. I have a lot of Cardano, which I moved into the Daedalus staking pool. And I'd recommend anybody that's holding Cardano. I think that is going to be I mean, it just depends how you want to play it, but I think that's going to 10x over the next 4 years. So if you could buy it now, it's a really good price to buy any of these. Keeping in mind that if Bitcoin goes down, all these are going to go down, but that doesn't mean that it's going to stay down. And when Bitcoin goes back up, all these will shoot back up right along with it, because that's just the way the market's going to work. And if you want to watch the market over the next year or two, and see what happens. But if it starts, I think we're going to have a false test. It's going to push up to about 50K, and then it's going to drop back down to 30K. And at that point, it could shoot right through 30K and touch 20K before it stabilizes again at this 35K range. And I see that playing out for about a year, where it's trading between 30 and 50 and maybe gradually pushing higher. But 30 and 50, and then there's going to be a breakout to the upside, and that'll happen sometime within 2 years. And if it doesn't happen in 2 years, if we don't get above 60 in 2 years, you can bet everything you own that, in my opinion, you could bet everything you own that Michael James by CORGIP goes up. I don't know what that is, Corgib. I will check it out. Thanks. But yeah, in 4 years, when the next halving occurs on Bitcoin, we're going to see that huge shoot up again. But my prediction is right now that for Bitcoin, you're going to see it trade in the short term between 30 and 40. And then we're going to have a breakout here within the next, I would say, anywhere from 4 days to 8 days. So check your 4-hour chart, your 8-hour chart, check your daily chart and your weekly chart. But sometime between this weekend and next week, it's probably gonna push one way or the other. There's probably gonna be some volatility in the market right now. The stochastics and the MACD, everything shows that it's re-entering a downtrend. And this is a monthly chart, so you could see big green bullish candles. When you come, each one of these candles represents a month, topping out here at the 61 with the wick all the way up to whatever that was. It was 62, 63, 64, right? Oh yeah, it was 60. Here's the wick here at 62, and then it formed a higher wick at 64, almost 65,000 before it topped out here at 58. And then we had this huge plummet, this huge red candle over the point of a month. And here's this little candle we're working on in this new month. And so is it going to match this? I think it's going to push up to about here and then continue a downward trend to where we test somewhere around this, certainly around this 26 to 28 range. And you can see these two Fibonacci lines right here. One's at 28. The other one's down here at 26. We got one here at 24. And I would be surprised if it goes. We have huge lines of support and resistance here at the 18, 19, 20. So I think it will test this some point in the next year or two, but don't expect this to be tested in the next week. I think we will have a push down to test this 28 or 30 sometime within the next couple weeks. In the short term though, based on fundamental analysis, I actually expect that we might have a break. Like, don't be surprised if it breaks out to the upside. It's going to fake you out, And if it'll hit that 48, 50, and then it'll shoot. Then I think it'll plummet down quickly to test that 30K range, if not 25. Okay. And then we'll stabilize, and you're going to see a lot of sideways chop in this area between 50 and 20K. This is a wide channel. I don't know how long it'll chop. I don't see it dropping down to these levels, these pre-2021 levels, anytime soon, if ever again. I don't think we're ever going to see a $3,000, $500, $3,500 Bitcoin again. I think the lowest that it'll test is right around here, is this 18. So I didn't think that about a week ago. And as we know, everybody, nobody knows, but all we can do is figure out, hey, if you want to try to make some money off the sideways chop, you could do so. And I think any of it is a fair bet. I think if you wait, don't be, if it gets over 60, and especially if it forms a new candle over this 58, if it forms a brand new candle here, it doesn't have to be a monthly, but even a weekly candle over this 60 mark, well, it'll be interesting because it probably won't ever see 20K again. Okay. It might see 30K after, but after it forms a new candle above 60, it might come down and test 30 or 40K, but which is this candle, right? Like 40, 46, maybe the top of this right here, this 41, but you're never going to see this range again. And that's why buying it here is still a good, it's still a good move. And even on the way up, you can see a lot of conversation here. It's mostly green, 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 some conversation there. There's some conversation here with these red candles. This right here, this pin top, it's pretty balanced pin top here. So these are the conversation points in around 20,000. Will it test 20,000? We got a good shot of it if it breaks to the downside. If it breaks to the upside, I don't think it'll test 20,000 anytime in the next 12 months. Anyway, folks, that's it for this analysis. Thanks for checking in. If you have any comments, post them in the stream right now. I will take a look. Michael, thanks for contributing. I will check out CORGIB by Corgib goes up. I don't know what that means. There, let me see if I can. There you go. Michael James by Corgib goes up. All right. So I don't know what that is. I don't know. Michael James, that doesn't sound like a bot name. So, and I don't know what Corgib is. I'm not endorsing anything. And of course, as everybody always says, this is not financial advice. This is just my own speculation. As an unaccredited investor, I'm not a financial guru or financial advisor, but I do have about 30 grand into the game. So I certainly have some care, and I'm not an OG investor. I run a different business. So a lot of my money, my personal money, went into a startup, a different tech startup. And we will hope to eventually get on here. We actually have real value in a real world scenario. And maybe that'll come out in some later episode. Hopefully before the end of the year, there will be an announcement made of our token for the company that I work with and I'm a founder of. But I don't want to mention that right now. And I can assure you, it won't be anything like a Dogecoin or anything, which, I call those vanity coins, kind of like collectible cards. They might hold value and they might go up in value, just like a Mickey Mantle baseball card, sold for hundreds of $1,000s. It's a piece of cardboard. At the end of the day, value is always perceived value, and something's only worth what somebody else is willing to pay for it. So that's it. And companies, tech companies or otherwise, are just trying to bring value into the world and find a fair market value. And this is some of the speculation and as far as what company is going to be able to bring more value into the world. That's the whole conversation of what happens on any chart stock market. And it's a fun conversation to have. Never bet more than you can afford to lose. And this channel right here, again, I drew it from 20 to 30. I thought it was going to fall down in this range. And we see that right now it's trading at the top part of this range. I thought it might come down and test here, and fingers crossed that it will. I'm going to buy a lot up as it goes down to 20. Oh, and I'll show you. I already have my buying bids before I go. Here's my buying bid. So I put in a couple. I set my bids at basically $25, $50 buy-ins. Okay, and that way it's easy to kind of move them around. So like I had some that were down at 20, and I said, you know what? I feel after the fundamental analysis that I should put a couple up at 35 because I had most of them in like the high 20s or like 30 or pushing around 30 range. So here's a 35. I put a couple, I'm buying, $75 worth of Bitcoin in around 35, 283, 35, 383. And then I have 32, for, 32 and a half, basically I'm buying 50. And then I just kind of cost average my way down. So, I have some in 29 in the 29 range, the 30K range, 30 and a half, 31, to go in order. I have it 35, then I dropped down to 32. I stacked heavily in the 32 to 31 range, right above 30,000, just in case it doesn't hit 30. I'm still able to pick up some coin. Again, I do $25 and $50 denominations around 31, 32. And then I put a couple in around 30, and I put a couple around that 28. A lot of people believe that this is the lowest it's going to test. So I said, okay, let me pick up some there, and then let me stack a couple a little bit lower, just in case, there's a dip. I can get bought at around 26K. I use some of my favorite numbers like 8s and 32s in a lot of my bets. I don't really believe in luck, but it's just something I do just for fun, because at the end of the day, this is all just for fun, right? So that's it. 30, 31. You can see a lot of my bets. I have some as low as 26 and 25. I would be surprised. And if I miss out on anything lower than 25, I will be stoked to have some Bitcoin at 25 before it makes the big push. Will it eventually see 100K per coin? By all indications, it seems to be yes. Bitcoin will eventually see 100K within the next 3 years, before the next halving, which this one was in 2020. Took a little bit of momentum to catch up. So I would say 4 years from today, expect $100 to $200,000 Bitcoin, and it's going to be trading in that range, and you'll never have a chance to buy a $60 Bitcoin again. And $60,000 Bitcoin will sound like a great price whenever Bitcoin is $100, $120, $150,000. So, and you doubled your money even if you bought it at 60,000. So that's what's up. If you buy it here in 32, to 35,000, you're going to be able to quadruple your money by the time it gets to 120,000. So that's actually a good buy. And I think this is what we see. People that have access to the blockchain, the Bitcoin blockchain, they're seeing that the wallets that are hodlers that have a lot of Bitcoin, they're not moving it into an exchange. It's still on, it's still in basically cold storage, meaning they're intending to hold it. The trading is done. The volatility is over. What you have now is compression, and you can see it on any of these hourly charts. You can see the compression happening. And I charted this, triangle right here, going from the high to the low, and I finished here on this date, which was, if you look down at the bottom, it says 5/26. So May 26th, I charted this. Today is June 3rd. And what did it do? Took this many, this is a 4-hour chart. So 4, 8, 16, 24. This is like, it took several days. I can go to a daily chart and you can see the same thing from where D is. It took another 1, 2, 3 days to test the bottom, stayed down here on this candle, turned around, and now we're here. And it can only consolidate so much more before it hits this point. And basically, this is like pressure building up until one of the bears or one of the bulls is going to make a big move. And we're going to see which momentum this thing pops. So we just got to wait, but it looks like there's not that many days left. It seems like a week. We're going to see a big move, either the top. Now, again, just to just to clarify, this all leads out to right here is a happy medium. We're kind of at this 50% range. And, what I would expect is that we're going to see a high of around 50, and then it'll even come back down and test 30. So if you want to be patient, be patient. If you see it create a new candle above 60, you might have a chance to buy it at 50 again, but you'll probably never have a chance after it creates a new candle above 60 to buy it at 50K. And even that's a good price if you're willing to hold it for 4 years. If you buy Bitcoin, be willing to hold it for 4 years. That's the moral of the story. I've said it several times. Sorry if I keep repeating myself, but that's the takeaway. Whatever you buy, whether it's 20,000 to 30,000 to 40,000, 50,000, even a $60,000 Bitcoin, don't beat yourself up if you bought it at 60. Just understand that you need to hold it. And even if you can make more money with whatever your day job is, then cost average it, buy it now. And then if you bought 1,000 up here at 60,000 and you bought 1,000 down here at 35,000, well, now you have $2,000 worth of Bitcoin with the average kind of falling somewhere in the middle, right? Because you bought it here. This is your low. So your average would be like, oh, I got $2,000 worth. And basically I cost average. So now it's, my value of Bitcoin would be about 50,000. And if it drops down to 20, buy some more, buy it. If you, the lower you can get it, the better. But basically you're safe anywhere here. 4 years from now, this is going to be up over 100K. I believe it. There's just too much institutional and bank money in here for it not to be the case. I don't think we're going to see a 10K test. We're lucky if we see a 20K test. More than likely, it's going to bounce around between 30 and 50 before it finds a new high and creates a new candle above 60. And then it's never coming down again into the 30K range. So that's what's up, folks. Thanks for watching. Good luck with your speculation. Never risk more than you can afford to lose. So make sure you got your rent paid and your bills taken care of, and then this can be fun. And when I bought in 2017, 2012, about a little bit, I bought it. I actually bought all my Bitcoin in 2017. Now I think about it, and I bought it with the idea I was going to hold it for 5 years, and I only had to wait 4 before we saw this explosion. I knew I had to get make some moves. But that's it for now. And we'll see you on the next one. You saw what the triangle looks like. We have some compression. There is going to be a bust out one way or the other. It's not the end of the world. If it goes up, it will come down and test 30 again, probably within the next month or two. You will have a shot at about a $30,000 Bitcoin if you're vigilant over the next couple months. That's based on tens of hours, probably 100 hours worth of videos, watching everybody from retail investors to the big whales talking about this whole game on the YouTube. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.